Oh, hi friend, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
Fine, I'm studying for my art class. You already took it, right?
Yeah, I took it with Lisa.
Oh, I'm taking it with her too.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah, we are taking a test for Fauvism. Can you help me to study, please?
Sure, it's actually one of my favorite currents. I like it because it's very intense but simple all at the same time.
I actually don't get it because it seems very crazy to me that some shapes and colors are out of context.
Well, yeah. Well, first, did you know that the word Fauvism comes from the French les fauves, which means wild beast? So it actually makes sense that it looks so crazy to you.
Oh no, I didn't know that. I know that at this point, in the beginning of the 20th century, painters were more aware of their feelings and wanted to actually represent them.
Exactly. Actually, one of Fauvism's main characteristics was that it separated color from its original representation or meaning. So it was now an independent element in the artwork. It could be not related to the real or natural world at all.
Yeah, I also remember that Luisa told that the feelings of the artist were more valuable now, and the theory or steps weren't as important as in other movements.
Of course, that's why works should be unified and strong. Simplified shapes and intense colors give attention to the canvas, and each element in it had a specific role. And since it was all about expressing feelings, the brushstrokes were very hard.
Okay, so was Fauvism the one painted by Van Gogh and Cézanne?
No, they were post-impressionists, but actually they were an inspiration to Fauvism. You can identify Fauvism paints because intense colors were a way of describing light and space, as well as emotions through colors. For example, you can find a bright orange on someone's face. Elements were mostly painted in just one plain color. Two of the most famous representatives of this movement were Henri Matisse and André Derain.
Oh, yeah. Wow, you know a lot about the topic. If we study like this, I will get 100. I think I recognize Matisse, but do you know which ones are the most famous works?
Oh yeah, I hope you get 100. And yeah, he has many famous works. Maybe you know the Blue Nude. He painted it in 1952, just 2 years before he died.
Yeah, I think I can remember that. It's like a deformed lady in blue, right?
Yeah, well, actually, he has two paintings called the Blue Nude, but the first one was not that famous, and he painted it in 1907. The second one is the one you're talking about, showing the balance of different positions of the model.
Oh, yeah. The one I always remember is like a lady portrait with a green line in the middle of her face. And I think it represents the division or contrast between two communities. That's why the face is painted with two colors.
Yeah, exactly. That one's also very famous. And another thing, a curious thing about Matisse is that even though he was 12 years older, he was very good friends with Picasso. They were usually rivals when it came to painting. And also another curious thing is that when he was 83, he donated like 100 of his works, valued up to $14 million to his hometown of Le Cateau.
Oh my god. Now I remember also some advertisements and fashion designers that got inspiration from his work. And that's amazing. I think that I'm ready for my test now. Thank you so much for helping me.
You're welcome. I hope you do great tomorrow. Say hi to Luisa for me.
Yeah, sure.
Bye.
Bye.
What are some characteristics of the painting Open Window that make it part of Fauvism?
Fauvism paintings are distinguished by saturated and mixed colors and broad brushstrokes. This creates an effect of spontaneity, even though the works were very calculated and they used techniques from post-impressionism and neo-impressionism. In this painting, Matisse uses the maximum intensity of color. The play of light and dark creates an illusion of volume and depth. The interior wall is divided into areas of blue and green and fuchsia, which are contrasts of complementary colors.
What was special about the portrait of Henri Matisse, which was painted by André Derain? Did Matisse paint a portrait of André Derain as well?
This work was made during a holiday at the fishing port of Collioure in the south of France in 1905, when Matisse and Derain painted portraits of each other. Matisse in this painting looks to be molded into the color. There is a contrast between the bright sides of the face and the shaded blue-green. The portrait has almost no lines except that the ear and the shoulder on the right are slightly contoured. His eyes are calm.
What did the green line mean in Henri Matisse's painting, The Green Line?
The green stripe down the center of Amélie Matisse, who was Henry's wife, acts like an artificial shadow that divides the face in a light side and a dark side. Matisse divided it chromatically, with a cool side and a warm side. The natural side is translated into colors and art. The highly visible brush strokes add drama to the painting. A lot of the strength of this painting resides in its simple geometric structure in a way in which the colors are combined. From which painting did Matisse borrow the motif to paint Dance 1 in 1909?
That one's easy. It was called Bonheur de Vivre, or in English, Joy of Life. You can see what apparently is the same group of women dancing at the bottom of the painting. But for Dance 1, he removed one of the dancers. I think that this painting is a very important reference to understand the context of dance. A place of happiness where the figures express a light pleasure and joy that was so much part of the earlier Fauve masterpiece. The figures are drawn loosely with almost no interior lines or colors.
Can you explain the differences between Dance 1 and Dance?
A lot of people says that the emotion in dance is very different. It is much more stronger and even dramatic. Beyond the color shift, which is pretty obvious, the figures in 1910 canvas are drawn with more interior line. This line often suggests there is tension and physical power, which could also explain the change of mood. Another difference is that the ground on the 1909 painting is higher, while the 1910 canvas, the green seems to compress under the dancer's weight. This subtle change creates either a sense of lightness or the sense of weight, and contributes to the way we perceive each painting. I think that Matisse knew exactly what he was doing.
Can you identify the elements that make this painting one of the most representative paintings in Fauvism?
Well, for instance, the characters would be linked to being backdoors because of their formless and shapeless movements. But this was because Matisse worked very hard to make his painting seem effortless. Fauvism did not pay attention to physiognomy in order to create a sense of pure joy and play. It is a very characteristic trait to make it seem a simple accommodation with a spatial ambiguity because of the absence of lines and shades, which make the canvas look flat. It is also important to mention that bright, simple colors, which are at the background of the painting, also allows a spectator to decide whether it is the sky or the moving water that we see over the hill. So, lines, shape, and color are in general the most obvious characteristics of a Fauvist painting.